over a Kansas wheat field or however you choose, I don't know if it's really a good idea to propose in front of like the universe. Right?
I agree. Okay.
I do have though. I will give you. I will give you.
Please.
And I say this on TV, and I'll put my right hand up. I will give you $1 million if you can get me a copy of the video of the very first Super Bowl.
Oh. It doesn't exist because there was no video, right?
It did exist. It did exist.
What happened?
So the original Super Bowl aired on 2 networks.
Okay.
Two networks were on it.
Yeah.
And they recorded it, but apparently the video has just disappeared.
Really?
And the reason why I was going to give you $2 million, last time I heard was it was worth $2 million, so I was going to split it with you.
You're good.
Yeah.
Such a good friend.
Finder's fee or whatever.
So it disappeared. Wow.
It disappeared, and I think the theory is, and you can check me on me if I'm wrong, that it got re-recorded over with like Days of Our Lives or
it's
something.
funny. Some things never change.
You know, right?
We deal with that all the time, don't we?
No, it just got re-recorded over.
We got to talk Olympics too. Have you watched?
I was not planning on watching really much, if any, and I did catch some, and I really kind of got a little bit caught up in it.
Sure, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I woke up yesterday morning and I turned on the TV and I'm seeing this sport that I have never seen before, okay? And it's these amazing downhill skiers that are going downhill and then they hop on these rails. They literally ski on the rails, and you have to stay on the rail the entire time or they take a point off. Yes. So there's rails, so they hop on the rails and they have to stay. And if they get off the rail just the slightest second before, like they take off 1,000 points or whatever, then they go down some more, then they do another rail, and then they do tricks on the rails. So apparently that's called freestyle skiing. They also do this with snowboarding and slope style. But I'd never seen this before. So I'm watching this and I'm going, wow. They're on skis going down this thin rail. They hop on the rail, they go down the rail, and I'm watching it going, yeah, that guy didn't do such a good job. Next thing I know, I'm judging all these people. I've never seen this sport before. It is the most complicated thing I've ever seen.
Funny?
And all of a sudden, I become the judge and the
judging.
naysayer, right?
Like, that's just, he did not have the right style nor form.
Yeah.
And he really didn't stick the ending, right?
And then they have all these terms like, he's doing the Japan grab, and there he is doing the exoskeleton GX470.
So I can picture you sitting down with your girls, like half an hour later, and they walk into the room and go, oh, wow. And all of a sudden you're dropping the exoskeleton terms.
I'm dropping.
Like, well, that is the Japan grab.
What do you think is the craziest, most wild winter ski Olympic sport? Like, what is the one that grabs
The one you just
so
mentioned
dangerous,
is,
right?
The thing that really impresses me is the going down the ski, the long, what's it called? Ski jumping.
Yeah.
And the thing that impresses me, I have not ever seen that in real life. I've seen the video, but the thing that impresses me and scares me a little bit is I've been next to those ski slopes, and they are they're basically a tower and a slope, and they look so steep and intimidating.
It kind of gives your stomach the willies, like you're looking up there going, what?
I don't really have much of a problem with heights, but I look up there, and then there's been a couple of, I was talking to Dane Placco last night about this, and he said that in Ogden Dunes there was one, I want to say from 1918 to 1922, only for about 4 years. A big structure.
Somebody trained out there.
That was up there, yes. And they found out there wasn't enough snow on that end of the lake. So it only lasted for about 4 years. I'm sure it's going to come up on a upcoming Monument Men. But yeah, those things are great. I mean, to see.
Right.
And then there was this guy, there's always these stories that pop up during the Olympics. And the past Olympics, there was Eddie the Eagle.
I remember Eddie the Eagle.
And I think Eddie had like these big Coke bottle glasses. I think that was a story. He couldn't see very well.
I can't remember what country he was from.
It was, and he was like the only.
He was bad, but he was so bad he was good. Everybody cheered him on, right?
Everyone cheered on, and I think he was from England now. I mean, it doesn't snow that much in England. But here's Eddie the Eagle going down there, and I think he was probably the only guy from his country. And just, he may have even been legally blind. I might be making that up right now to embellish the story.
It makes the story really
good.
But
here's Eddie the Eagle flying through, and you're right, everybody was.
Everybody was cheering him on. That's like the Jamaican bobsledding team. Same thing when they first did it, and they ended up making a movie out of it. Cool Runnings.
Exactly.
Remember?
You don't have to have gold
Yeah.
to be gold.
You
Right?
don't have to. Big Air is another one, a freestyle skiing where you do one massive jump and do a trick in the air to impress. Big Air.
To impress,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
it's all, these sports started to impress a girl. Right?
Yeah, right.
There was, Claude or whatever on there. He's like, hey, let me show you how I can do this. And wow, that is really cool. And then the next guy did it, the next guy.
Right.
And next thing you know, 6 years later, it's an Olympic
Here
sport.
we are. And it's funny because we all become experts. And it's funny also, you said you weren't planning on watching, but you kind of can't help it. I love it because it brings families together.
Yeah.
Everybody gets together to watch. It's hard, though, when it's in a place like Milan and the sport has already happened when you're watching it in the evening. And now that we have, remember before we used to have to wait for it to view it in the evening. Now it's there for you, 24/7.
Speaking of which, we just did a story. In fact, I think it was our friend Dane Placco again, was Miracle on Ice.
Yes.
When we beat, when that team in Lake Placid, New York, got the gold. And here's a little trivia question for you. Who did we play during the gold championship game?
Was it Russia?
It was Finland.
Oh.
We beat Finland for the gold, but that put us to defeat Russia and get gold.
okay.
Russia got the silver, and Sweden got the bronze. But I think it was ABC at the time. They did not air that game because they thought the Americans were going to get their butts kicked so bad that they thought, we'll show some highlights, but we're really not going to show that game at all. And so they were kind of showing highlights. And it wasn't until they won the game that they immediately played that game back. And so the team members who had just won the game, they had gone up. Apparently, there was a Holiday Inn that was upstairs from the rink. That's where they were all staying at. And they all were in this big kind of dinner area. 2,000 people watching the game for the first time.
How
It was
fun. I
going
didn't
back
know
to
that
America.
story.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it wasn't live back in the
Yeah,
day.
very, very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to see what the Big Air is going to bring. And next time that rail thing is going on, I'll make sure to let you know.
Yeah. Otherwise, I could go off the rails.
We have a really fun guest that we're about to talk to, but I'm trying to figure out if we're going to a break first or if we're going to go to him right now.
What do you want to do?
Okay, we are going to take a break because when we come back, we are going to be speaking to a Michelin star chef who is creating this really interesting sauce that you're going to want to know about. And his restaurant is one of the hottest ones to get into in the city if you can get in. We'll be back with the chef from Carino right after this. So much for our goalpost.
Look, no, it's like it's in motion.
Welcome back. We're going to be getting to that chef I was just talking to you about in just a minute. But first, we're going to talk coyotes or coyotes. What do you say?
Or I call them yotes.
Yotes?
Yeah, yotes in my neighborhood.
They're
Yeah,
yotes.
they're yotes.
Well, apparently the yotes are hanging around the Chicago area, and they can be found. Montrose Beach has had sightings, and some other places. So our question is, what the heck's going on, right?
Yeah.
So we are now joined by Stanley Garrett, who's the professor of wildlife ecology, joining us now to talk about this. Oh, you're a professor at what school, I should ask you?
At The Ohio State University.
The Ohio State University. Boy, did I set myself up for that.
Well, thank you for joining us here this morning. And you probably, I'm going to guess you probably have some yotes on your campus now and again, don't you?
Oh, we do, definitely. Pretty much every city across the U.S. has coyotes living within them.
Okay, so see, you said coyotes, right? So we are used to saying coyotes, but the correct pronunciation is coyote?
Either one.
Okay, either one works.
Take your pick, flip a coin.
Depends
They're
on
both
if
correct.
Watched Roadrunner as a kid.
That's true. Yeah, the coyotes after you. Okay, so what's going on with this? Why, you just said you guys have them at The Ohio State as well. Why are we seeing this all over the place, especially in, well-populated areas like some of our popular beaches and parks?
Yes, well, so we've been actually studying your coyotes there in Chicago for the last 26 years. It's probably the most well-studied urban coyote population in the U.S. And what we found is that coyotes, first of all, they occur pretty much anywhere in Chicago, so don't be surprised where they pop up. But most of the time they stay hidden. But right now, this time of year is a particularly important time of year because they only breed or mate during a very narrow window of just a few days, and it happens to coincide with February, and actually Valentine's Day happens to be the peak coyote breeding period. So they share that with us. So they tend to be, their hormone levels are really high, so they're more active right now. Plus, they don't have a lot of cover at the moment. So the vegetation, the bushes, the trees that would normally hide them, all have their leaves down, and so they're more easily seen as well as being more active.
Wow.
And I can't tell you how many people, especially that live in the city, they're like, "Oh, coyotes! I'm afraid of the coyotes. They're going to eat me." But outside of having like a little chihuahua, or if you catch them during pup season, they're really pretty benign neighbors, right?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that our research has shown is that over 95% of the coyotes that are living among us are not causing any issues whatsoever. In fact, they're doing everything they can to stay away from us or avoid us. It's just really hard in Chicago where you have millions of people. It's hard to stay hidden from people all the time. And so you will see them, but most of them are benign. They're actually doing things that help us. So they're eating rodents and rabbits that we tend to think of as nuisances at times. So it's only the rare circumstances, but we do need to be aware of those rare circumstances so we can avoid that.
Yeah, so don't take any chances. Okay, how did this growing population occur? And obviously we have a lot of them for The Ohio State to be studying them here, right? This is like a center ground study for you guys. Why is that? How did all this happen?
Yeah, so it turns out that coyotes were not common in the Chicago area prior to the 2000s. And in fact, that's true for pretty much every city across the Midwestern or Eastern part of the US. So the whole phenomenon of an urban coyote didn't really exist prior to 2000. But in the 1990s, we began seeing coyotes occurring in Chicago, in some other cities. And so it actually turns out that people were calling in, and they're very concerned about coyotes appearing in their neighborhoods where they had never seen them before. And we didn't have good advice for them because we didn't really know what that meant. And so that's why we actually began the study in March of 2000. And we thought it would be very quick. We thought that we would find that very few coyotes actually lived in Cook County or Chicago, and we could all move on from there. But what we found was that the opposite. We found many more coyotes out there. We found hundreds and then eventually thousands of coyotes living in the Chicago metro area. And it turns out that the life of an urban coyote is actually very good, as long as they can stay away from us and avoid us.
What do you estimate the population is around Chicago these days?
So we estimate that coyotes in Cook County itself is somewhere between 2 and 4,000 animals, which sounds like a lot, but the county is a big county, and there's a lot of food there. So it's actually a pretty average number for the amount of area that Cook County contains.
So, did somebody decide I want to have a coyote as a pet? I mean, literally, how did this all like? Why?
Right.
Right?
That's the $64,000 question
Yeah.
right there. And because no one saw this coming, we didn't know it was going to happen. We don't know exactly what was the original impetus for coyotes moving into the city. And plus, what makes the mystery even more interesting is that it's not just Chicago. Other cities such as Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., all began having coyotes occur in their cities at about the same roughly period of time. So the best explanation is that we do know that hunting and trapping pressure on them dropped significantly during the early 1990s because of drop in pelt prices. And so perhaps the reduction in hunting and trapping created an excess number of coyotes, and some of them spilled over into the cities.
I got a question. So back before the 90s, as kids, you never saw a coyote. It was a rare occurrence to even hear about them. Before the population really took off, maybe 35 or 45 years ago, where were the centers of coyotes? Where were they located? Out west, southwest, deserts, mountains?
Well, so if we go a little bit earlier than that, if we go back to the 1940s and 1950s, their distribution was primarily out west. So they were considered a western species or a western midwestern species, a species of the desert and the plains. Not so much in definitely not in the eastern U.S. at all. But then they increased their range, became more abundant, and then eventually moved into cities.
Wow. Okay. So for people, you said that they pretty much just want to be left alone. But what advice do you have for people? Because, coyotes can be cute to some people too. I could see maybe some people trying to feed them.
They
In
do.
general, what do you want people to know?
That's probably the number one thing is like don't feed them. So again, our relationship with them works best when they have a healthy fear of us, or at least they want to avoid us. When we begin feeding them, then they lose their fear and they actually are attracted to either us or our properties, and that can be dangerous for our pets and for us. So feeding is the number one cause of conflict between coyotes and people. And then the second most common would be this time of year. And then in a couple months when when they have their litters, they give birth. That's also a period of stress where they become aggressive, and they can become aggressive toward dogs in particular. They're not really interested in us, but they do see our dogs as a threat.
Okay.
And so there can be a time when they may be aggressive toward dogs. And so we want to be aware of that. And again, don't attract them to our properties. And then when we are out in green spaces in particular, we want to keep our dogs on a leash, and we want to be wary of coyotes out in those public parks, cemeteries, golf courses, that type of thing, where coyotes may be residing.
I want to go down a little bit of a deep rabbit hole with you a little bit here, so to speak. So I've often heard that the red fox population is on decline because the coyote population is increased, and I've also heard that has driven some of the red foxes into some smaller and medium-sized cities. Have you seen any behavior like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you know your science quite well. So part of what I just was describing in terms of coyote aggression toward dogs because they see dogs as a threat or a competitor, that also includes foxes. So they are aggressive toward foxes, and both red and gray foxes. So we have two species that occur, or at least did occur in Chicago prior to coyotes becoming abundant. And so they have declined to some degree, especially gray foxes. We're actually doing research on that as we speak. But so they have dropped in numbers. And what foxes have found is that the safest places for them to occur is as close to people as possible. In fact, it's called the human shield. And so when foxes can live close to us, then again, coyotes are avoiding us, and that gives space toward foxes. And so you'll see people actually being very fond of and very protective of the foxes in their neighborhoods.
Very interesting.
Yeah, how about that? Do you expect this population to continue to grow? Is there something we need to do to control it, to cut down on it? What are you guys seeing?
So what we're seeing now is that we definitely, in the early years of the study, the first decade, if you will, we did see growth. And we saw growth in numbers and a growth in terms of spreading out among the Chicago metro areas. We don't see it anymore. What we see is a plateau. So we see basically a stable population. We don't see any more growth occurring. They seem to have hit kind of the amount of area or the number that can actually live in this metro area. So what's happening now is that coyotes are controlling their own numbers. And this is typical of coyotes in a variety of places. So it's not unique to Chicago, but coyotes, because of their territorial nature and because they limit their own reproductive efforts or their own reproduction, they can actually slow their own population growth. And that seems to be where we're at right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is a fascinating
Really
subject. I
is,
could talk
yeah.
to you about this all
I
morning
know.
long.
Well, Stanley Garrett from the Ohio State University. I'm sure everybody says it that way now, don't they? Were you so happy when you got that copyright?
We're contractually obligated.
I know you are.
It's the legal name.
We love it. It was great talking to you, though. Very, very interesting. Keep up the good work. I'm sure we'll be speaking again.
Yep.
Okay, you take care. And we have some more fun things planned, but we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. What you
More
doing?
yotes and more. A mule
Oh,
with
that's
the
right.
yote.
So
Yeah.
it's a mule. Welcome back. Okay, this is the time of year where you don't necessarily think about flowers. You know, that's more of like a summer or spring thing, right?
Yep.
But, there's something pretty special going on at the Botanic Gardens. Are you an orchid fan at all?
You know, I got to tell you, my father-in-law, who was a greenhouse guy, that was his passion.
Oh,
Yeah.
then you saw some beautiful orchids.
Absolutely.
I love them.
Yeah.
I also find them very hard to maintain, to keep alive,
Oh,
right?
I think
They're
extraordinarily,
sensitive.
right?
Yeah. So we're going to get some help and find out about a special event that's going on. Jody Zambola with the Chicago Botanic Gardens joining us now to tell us about the special Orchid Show of Wonders that begins February 10th. Jody, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes,
You're welcome.
the Orchid Show Feeling Groovy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So they're doing a 60s theme.
Oh,
Feeling groovy.
feeling groovy. I love it. The first
Yes.
question I have is, what is the difference between an orchid and a regular old flower? What makes an orchid an orchid?
Okay, well, so orchids are very special, and I'm going to say I would encourage you to call the garden and talk with our plant information desk because they are the experts, and we have them, the plant information people on hand at the Orchid Show to answer those types of questions.
I like it. They're like my
because
flower
I am the
phone
one who
friends.
plans the events.
Oh, you plan the fun events. Okay, so
gotcha.
first of all, I love that you're dressed in theme. So tell us,
Yes, right?
yes,
Feeling groovy. The
Love
name
it,
of the
love
show.
it. Tell us about this festival and how the theme came apart together, I should say, and how you brought
Yes.
them to create
So-
one fun show.
Oh gosh, so this is our 12th Orchid Show, and it's all planned internally by a great team who comes together with these great ideas. And we're celebrating the 60s and the 70s. And our team was inspired by all the bright colors and funky patterns and love for Mother Nature that era had. And so when you come to the show, you're going to see all of those things put together and with orchids, over 10,000 blooms. So the inspiration is all there, and you're going to see a floor-to-ceiling sunbeam decorated with orchids. You're going to see a 10-foot lava lamp spilling over with orchids. You're going to see an actual 70s vintage Volkswagen Beetle that is gutted, and then spilling out of it are orchids. You're going to see a 70s lounge. And you're going to be in there and you feel like really groovy and have some photo ops in there with some lit up signs and everything, and again all decorated with orchids. So it's just a really fun show. It's very immersive. There's music, of course. Music played a big part in the 60s and the 70s, so in every room you're going to hear all different kinds of music. We opened up yesterday and people have been dancing and, with grins on their faces. It's very nostalgic. So people are just having a really good time.
Oh, I love that, right? Okay,
Yeah.
do you get to buy orchids while we're there? Because, those are beautiful and it's a great plant to have inside your home right now.
It is. So you can purchase orchids. So our garden shop is selling orchids, but also during the weekends, we will have Orchid Marketplace where you can purchase orchids. And also there will be people there as well who can tell you all about orchids and how they differ from other flowers, as well as how to take care of them, where to place them in your home for the best bloom and things like that. Also, the Illinois Orchid Society will have a show and sale the weekend of March 14th and 15th. And then, of course, we have what we like to call our fire sale, which is after the show is all over, we dismantle the whole show and all the orchids that you see in there, almost all the orchids, I should say, not the special ones from our orchidarium. But almost all the orchids will be for sale on that Thursday after the show ends at a really good price.
You need an orchidarium.
I know, I
think,
was going to
right?
say, I want my own
Yeah.
orchidarium.
Now, orchids are the plants you take the little spray bottle. Do they want to be sprayed? Is that the orchids?
No, you're not supposed to touch the leaves.
Okay,
Right. So,
right.
okay, this much I do know, Jody, because I do
Yes.
love orchids, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But they are very finicky, aren't they? Like I remember hearing, do not get water on the leaves. It's a little bit of water. It can
okay.
ruin everything.
Really?
So I've heard things like put ice cubes in the bottom. Some people believe
Mm-hmm.
in that, some don't. I would just always check it to make sure it was moist. My thing
Yes.
was so delightful is when all of the orchid leaves fall off, there's always a challenge to see if you can bring them back, right?
Wow.
And that's where your people can help.
So,
Yes, that's it. Yeah, you can certainly ask our experts, but yes, you don't want to overwater it. You don't want to have it become really dry, but they check to see if it's dry, give it a little bit of water. And I also know that even though it may look like it's very, dead or dormant, just wait because it will come back.
That's
I
happening.
just love the
so
fact
exciting.
that you were doing like CPR on your orchids
Yes,
at home.
I was determined to bring the orchids back to life.
Right? Once I kill them, man, I
It's over, huh?
write it off,
It's
right?
over.
Yeah.
So this starts on the 10th, correct?
We actually opened yesterday.
Oh,
That was
good.
our
Okay.
first day to the public.
Okay.
And it will be open until March 22nd.
Very nice.
We also have some great evening events planned called our Orchids After Hours, where you can see the show at night, and we will have light bites and drinks available for purchase. And we have 2 silent disco nights planned. So if you know what silent disco nights are, you know, where you can
the
have the
headphones on,
headphones and a
yeah.
DJ will be there
That's how it
with
works.
3 different tracks that you can choose from. So we've never done
That's
those
fun.
before, but this is the perfect show to showcase that. So we're really excited.
Silent disco night. You're going to have people grooving to different beats.
Different beat. Okay, who knew the Chicago Botanic Gardens were such party animals?
Yeah,
It's all
right?
because of you.
Orchid. Get your orchid on.
Yeah, this sounds like so
actually,
much fun.
get your groove on at the Orchid Show. Absolutely.
Jody, thank you so much. Good luck. What a fun event you have planned, and I hope you guys have a huge turnout. It sounds like a great time.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, great to talk to you. Yeah, do you have you tried to grow an orchid? Or?
You know, I've had orchids like handed to me, given to me, and it was my job, my one job, to keep them alive. But I didn't know I was supposed to put an ice cube in there.
Well, that's not all people believe. I don't do the ice cubes.
Yeah.
I just do but some people say ice cubes work, but don't get the leaf one.
You're definitely going to be my phone a friend for
Yeah,
orchids.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're talking about a special event going on at Navy Pier. And Charlie Wine is with the Andersonville Chamber, and he's joining us now to tell us about this. Hi, Charlie. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Tell us about your event. What's it called and what's involved?
Yeah. So we're actually in Andersonville. We're not on Navy Pier.
Oh,
We're at the Swedish
okay.
American Museum today.
Oh, thank you for correcting
So today is the Great Andersonville Puzzle Exchange. We do this every year. It is a free community event where you can come bring puzzles you've done before and exchange them for new puzzles that you haven't done yet. We started this during COVID when we realized everyone was sort of just baking bread and doing puzzles, and people were getting really sick of the puzzles that they had. So we had about 500 people come through last year. We expect more this year. It's a really great event.
Oh, I love that. Are you a puzzle guy?
Puzzling.
Yeah, puzzling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I wasn't a puzzle guy until the puzzle exchange started. So I am definitely a puzzle guy now.
I love it. Okay, I get really frustrated with puzzles. Like, I have a friend who has a lake house, and she's got this huge table, and everybody's supposed to contribute and put their little puzzle pieces in there. And when I look at it, I get like overstimulated.
Yeah,
What's
right?
the secret to doing a puzzle and not getting too overwhelmed?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about the Puzzle Exchange is we have tables set up. You can get one that's 300 pieces, 500 pieces, 800, up to 3,000 pieces. So there's really options for everyone. We've got puzzles of all themes. It's a really fun day. Everyone gets very excited about it. We probably have about, thousands and thousands of puzzles that get exchanged in every single year.
Okay, so what else have you got going on besides the puzzles? I know there's some other things.
Yeah, so Puzzle Exchange is a part of our Fika Fest celebration, which is Fika is a Swedish heritage tradition of taking a break, having a coffee and a piece of cake with a friend, and as a sort of a part of a continuation of that, we have another event coming up in 2 weeks on the 28th. Explore and Restore. Puzzles we consider sitting down and doing a puzzle, sort of something that can be great for your mental health, your wellness. So the Explore and Restore is an opportunity for people to walk throughout the neighborhood and visit our wellness-based businesses and learn a little bit about them and how different forms of wellness can affect their lives. Things like interior design, just refreshing your home, posture checks with a chiropractor, sort of everything.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You were asking me about puzzles before. I always have the difficulty of getting the puzzle with the clouds and trying to match the little corner of the
Yes,
cloud with the
right.
blue sky, or worse, the ocean. Here's a little piece of the wave.
Yes.
So I suck at puzzles.
Yeah,
I really do.
I know.
My favorite one is when people bring in puzzles that are totally one color. And it's sort of like it's crazy. There's always people that are so excited about the single color puzzle, and
Really?
I never,
That
not for me.
creates great anxiety for me just to even hear you say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so it's called Fika Fest, and you said it's all about like relaxation, mental health.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Fika is the tradition where you're supposed to take a break from your day, get away from your computer, get away from your phone, sit down with a friend, have coffee, have a piece of cake, and just talk talk and connect. So this is sort of, the puzzle exchange. Yesterday was our coffee and cocoa crawl. It's all about taking a part of your day and, free yourself as opposed to the craziness of the world.
And I missed that. Is Fika an acronym? Does that stand for anything?
No, it's a Swedish word. It translates most literally to coffee and cake.
Oh, I like that.
So Fika is just a Swedish tradition.
I like
Generally
that.
in the Swedish day, it's regular practice to take a fika during your day.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. Can you please use that word in a sentence?
Yeah.
Like we're at the spelling bee here.
Take a fika.
I was going to say,
Fika.
if it didn't mean anything, I was going to come up
Yeah.
with like friends inhabiting
Yeah, an
cupcakes
acronym.
and alcohol, or
Okay, and then tell me about this.
yeah.
The Great Andersonville Puzzle Throwdown. What's that?
Yeah, so we started this last year. I'm actually sitting in Raygun right now where our puzzle throwdown is going to be. So we have 12 rounds throughout the day, 3 contestants per round to try and complete a 48-piece secret puzzle as fast as they can. It was crazy last year. The people were bringing their cheerleader teams and everything. I think last year we had someone complete our puzzle in 3 minutes. I never knew someone could do a puzzle that quickly,
Yeah.
but our fastest puzzler gets a great puzzle pack prize from Play, Toys, and Books. It's a competitive, fun
Wow.
experience. I don't think I could do it. That's too much anxiety for me. But
was
we have
gonna
some good
say,
champions coming back
Who
this
knew
year.
puzzles could be so crazy, huh?
Yeah, right.
So this
No.
is a
Yeah, right.
competition. You give them the puzzle, and a few people compete to try to see who can do it the fastest.
Yeah, we have special Andersonville puzzles made, and no one is allowed to see them before the actual throwdown starts.
Okay.
And then they turn the puzzle over, they dump the pieces out, and they have 10 minutes to finish the puzzle.
Wow. Okay. And you said somebody did one in 3 minutes. How tough was that puzzle? Do you remember what the puzzle looked like?
The puzzle last year was a picture of the Andersonville water tower. So a lot of blue, a lot of yellow, and those clouds that you said you love.
Yeah, right.
So I was shocked how quickly someone was able to get that finished.
Wow. Very fun. Okay. So how long does this fun continue? When can people head out? What's the website they can go to for more information?
Yeah, so I would say follow our Instagram. We'll be doing regular updates throughout the day. Puzzle exchange goes from 10 a.m. so right now until 2 p.m. at the Swedish American Museum, 5211 North Clark. It's take a puzzle, bring a puzzle. So if you bring 5, take 5, up to about 15. So there's a line out right now. I recommend, but it's a warmer day out. It's sunny out. So bring your puzzles you don't want anymore and find some brand new ones.
I do have a great puzzle at home. Maybe I'll bring it in.
Yeah.
It's actually a wooden one, and it's got like a banana, an orange, and an apple, and I think some grapes. My grandkids seem to be able to do it, within about 3 seconds.
No, that's our
that's
puzzle.
kind of my speed.
That's our
right
puzzle
there.
speed
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, me neither.
Charlie, sounds like so much fun. Thank you for joining us. The puzzle throwdown sounds like it's going to be a complete blast. Yes.
It's one of our favorite events of the year, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So
I love
everyone
this.
come out, do some puzzles with
I
us.
love it. It's a simple, fun gathering, get to know people, make some new friends, and doing something as simple as a puzzle can bring so much joy.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Fika on.
Yeah, Fika
Yeah.
on. Let's go Fika.
Yeah, let's go Fika.
But first, we're going to take a break before we Fika.
Okay.
Be right back here. So I said, yes, please. Welcome back. Actually, before we go to our next guest, you have the answer to who performed at the first
Oh,
Super Bowl.
yes, trumpeter Al Hurt and the marching bands from Arizona State and Grambling College.
That was the first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think high schools or colleges perform so much at Super Bowl.
Not so much anymore. No,
Those
not
days
so
are
much.
over.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of fun events going on this weekend and this week. We've already seen some of it. And we are going to start right now with the Black Makers Market 2026. This is the one that's happening over at Navy Pier. And we are joined by Marissa Diaz-Arce now to tell us more about this event. Hi, Marissa. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, great to have you. Tell us about this event.
So Navy Pier hosts annually for the past few years our Black Makers Market, where we're celebrating diversity, creativity, and the incredible talent of over 25 different communities this month. The market runs every Saturday in the month of February in our food experience corridor from 12 to 6. And there you'll be able to shop local and just really see us celebrating the rich tapestry and culture of Chicago Black entrepreneurs.
Very good. And so you have all kinds of things. Tell everybody when they come, what are some of the items that they should expect to see?
I will say it's always fun to put these together because we're always showcasing something new, unique, and what you can expect to find is jewelry, things such as like the earrings that I'm wearing, or really cool design T-shirts. We also have candles that are made made intentionally. This one is actually from a business, and this scent is Nigeria Yellow Trumpet. Hand woven purses. This is actually from This is actually from Africa. And they work with local creatives that weave these together, and she brings them to Chicago to sell. So some really cool things and unique pieces, which I always enjoy because, when someone's like, oh, where did you get that? You can't find it. You're going to have to go to this market to get it.
Right. Unique items. And it's a great place to allow these small business owners, too, to showcase their wares, right?
Absolutely. We host markets throughout the year, this one being the beginning of the year. And we, over the course of last year, saw over $130,000 go back into different communities in the city of Chicago and the Chicagoland area. So we know that this opportunity is not only great for our guests to be able to support local, but we understand the impact that it has towards all of these makers from across the city, and we bring the guests and they bring their talent, and it's just a really beautiful marriage of the two.
I love it. So it's 10 unique vendors every Saturday, and this is happening at Navy Pier at the Family Pavilion and Food Experience Corridor. I love going out to Navy Pier. I haven't been recently, and so you get a double bonus with your market going on and everything else that's going on at Navy Pier and the beautiful views. It sounds like it's going to be great, and this is every Saturday in the month of February, right?
That's right. We're really excited you should come back. Let me know when you want to check it out. We have so many new offerings. I mean, every single time people come to the pier, they're like, oh, this is not the pier that I remember. And we're really excited about that because we're constantly reinventing ourselves to really showcase this is Chicago. And Chicago is always changing and becoming better. And so it's really great to be able to showcase that at Navy Pier.
I'm so glad you said that, because I totally agree. For people who haven't been to Navy Pier, I say this all the time, Marissa, it's time to go back. It's not the Navy Pier you remember. It's not your father or mother's Navy Pier. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great turnout for this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, it's our pleasure. Yeah, when's the last time, Mark, you went out to Navy Pier?
Boy, it's been a couple of years.
Yes,
It really has been.
They've got so many new things out there, great restaurants, cute little shops. Plus, like I said, the views there are second to none.
I love on a nice summer day, especially when it's hot and it's cool along the pier, take a little stroll along Navy Pier, and you don't have maybe a little band playing out there.
Right.
Just sit down and enjoy the lake.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah, I like
and
to
the
go to the
music.
very end and watch the people on the the boats doing all this fun stuff. So, okay, this next subject matter I'm excited to talk about, and it's about Chicago's Michigan Avenue. Okay, we've been seeing a lot over the years, especially post-pandemic,
Right.
where a lot of shops had closed down. And, you know, we think of it as a magnificent mile,
Right.
and there were some concerns as to what was happening with that. So Greg Kirsch is joining us now to talk about what has been going on Michigan Avenue. He is with the local real estate brokerage Kirsch Agency. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
look forward to speaking to you about one of my favorite topics.
Yay.
Yeah.
And you know, me too, because I have to tell you, over the years, and as I said, even, you know, post-pandemic, you'd walk down Michigan Avenue and it just wasn't what it used to be. Tell us what's been going on with Michigan Avenue over the last 5 to 7 years. What have we been experiencing there that kind of has resulted in so many stores closing down and leaving?
Yeah, I mean, I think the story of Michigan Avenue is the story of American high streets in general. And over the last 7 years, if you went to places like New York, you would see a tremendous amount of vacancy, Union Square in San Francisco. And all of the kind of major shopping districts across the country have experienced this realignment, which is a few things. Sadly, it's not one thing that you could fix, but it's the way people shop. All the cardboard boxes on your doorstep has caused a lot of shrink in the need of retailers to have additional units. The way retailers are deciding to merchandise, instead of these large multi-unit flagships, they're going to smaller stores. And of course, COVID, which is the probably the greatest calamity that has experienced or that any of these major shopping districts has experienced. So as an example, and we track these statistics because I'm a commercial real estate broker and I help retailers find spaces to rent stores. And you'd think that would be really easy with all the vacancy, but it's hard because you have to really analyze the market in detail. So you probably remember in 2016, 10 years ago, that was the high water mark for Michigan Avenue. There was only 3.6% of the 3.2 million square feet available. And that almost meant nothing was available. And that number went to almost 34%. So 1 out of 3 storefronts or 1 out of 3 square feet was vacant about a year and a half ago. So as you can imagine, it was a tremendous amount of vacancy. Over 1 million square feet, which is the equivalent of a major shopping center, became vacant during that period. And that was sadly the trend until recently, and now it's starting to change. Do you want to hear about that?
Greg, I love your passion and I love your insight. And yeah, that's the very next question. What has been the catalyst to make this turn around?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to kind of simple economics. This is valuable real estate. There's a lot of people that walk down it. Last year, we hit back to pre-COVID numbers of pedestrians walking up and down the street. Sales on the street have gone up to pre-COVID levels. Some of that, of course, is due to inflation. People charge more for their goods, so the sales of their store go up commensurately. And what we're starting to see is retailers coming back to these high streets, looking for the a brick and mortar incarnation of their brand. Kind of fun fact: it's really hard after a certain point to gain new customers using online channels. At a certain point, it becomes almost impossible. And so these retailers are still looking for places that they can sell their product. There's also, as you know, there's been hundreds of regional malls across the country that have closed, hundreds of department stores, which are points of distribution for retailers. So when you lose all those points of distribution, which may be wholesale, now you got to have retail locations. And so there's this increased interest in a place like Michigan Avenue, which still remains, thankfully, one of the top 5 high streets, one of the top 10 retail markets in the world. It's something that we should be very, very proud of. It's a place that matters in the kind of the global spectrum of retail environments. And as we look at the street, we're seeing this improvement. So not only are we seeing retailers taking new spaces, like you saw Alo Yoga and Aritzia and the Harry Potter store and Mango just recently signed up. You're also seeing new investments in existing properties that often needed some love, like the Northbridge Mall and Water Tower Place, which I could go on forever about. But there's not only a capital investment, but there's also real interest from retailers that want to open stores. And I'm kind of in the middle of all that, which is a fun place to be, watching the changes and improvements in the market.
I am so glad to hear that, because I know your report says that we could see retail leasing double in 2026 on Michigan Avenue, because when you walk down Michigan Avenue, for a while there was a bunch of temporary pop-ups that were coming and going, and it just did not feel like the Magnificent Mile. So what you're saying is we're going to see more steadiness there.
Yeah, I think if you keep coming down to the avenue, every quarter you'll see a new retailer open. By this time next year, there will be very few vacancies from the river up to Chicago Avenue. You're going to see large announcements of capital infusion in places like Water Tower and the old Uniqlo space that's up at Chicago Avenue by the Water Tower. So look for some really significant investments, upwards of $500 million, maybe more.
Nice.
And I think what you'll find is some really neat retailers that are recommitting to the avenue and building gorgeous stores that matter in their fleet. These would be considered flagships where they spend more money on them than others.
Well, thank you,
Best
Greg.
news ever. Greg, thank you so much. We love to hear that. You take care, and happy Super Bowl Sunday. We appreciate you joining us. You take
Go
care.
Pats, I guess.
Yeah. Bye-bye. How about that? That's good news.
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to see the economy on the upswing.
Absolutely. Well, hope you guys have enjoyed our digital show. And we'll see you back here on the news this evening and then the rest of the week. Have a good one.
Make them want to be their best self. And that's what I have in the 49ers. And that's why receiving this award is such a blessing and an honor, because I feel like I'm around the best leaders and people who have inspired me. And I'm extremely grateful for that. This year was challenging in a lot of different ways. I go back to January 1st until the start of training camp. And it was a fight, again, going after that season. But the things that were consistent for me, that I truly believe I wouldn't be standing up here without it, was God, my faith in Jesus, and the people around me. And the verse this year that I continued to say to myself was Exodus 14:14, which was, "The Lord will fight for you, you must only be still." And I think in this ever-changing world where we're all over the place and there's these new inputs coming in all the time, it can be stressful. Again, when you're going through injuries in the NFL, there is uncertainty. There's a lot of long days and a lot of sleepless nights. And when you know that all you have to do is be still, all you have to do is continue fighting, all you have to do is show up and do the best job you can, let God fight for you. The end result will be what it'll be, and it's not always in your timing. And trusting in the Lord and relying on my support system, my wife, my daughter, my parents, my brothers, that's why I'm here today. And my teammates, that's why I'm here today. This is an honor because of the recognition that I'm getting from so many legends like these guys standing up here, so many people who have transcended the game of football, and none other than Bart Starr. Somebody who I wish I could have met, somebody who will live forever and will live forever in this game, and it's an honor to be able to honor him. I'm really grateful that for my career up to this point, all the trials, all the tribulations, and receiving this award is a massive honor, and I'm unbelievably grateful for all the people who played a massive role in it. To Athletes in Action, thanks for giving our faith a platform. Thanks for making this award not just about football, but about people like myself and the communities that I've been so blessed to be a part of. And I just want to say thank you guys for being here and standing for something bigger than yourself, just like we as football players do. So to everybody, thank you. Enjoy the breakfast, and God bless.
That was the 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey speaking at the Super Bowl breakfast as we're taking a live look at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, where the New England Patriots will face off against the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. And this matchup, no doubt, highly anticipated as it is a rematch of the two teams. Also featuring two first-time Super Bowl head coaches, Mike Vrabel and Mike McDonald, and also the first Super Bowl with two starting quarterbacks right there. And we did want to pose this question to you. Who do you think will win Super Bowl 60? A lot of you have already taken the time to head to our website to vote on this. And if you haven't done so already, there is a QR code on the upper right-hand side of your screen, and you can make your opinion known. But right now, it looks like the Seattle Seahawks are edging out the Patriots, at least from the standpoint of our viewers. 57% of you say the Seahawks are going to hold the Vince Lombardi trophy high above their heads. So we are very much interested in hearing more about this. And as always, we do want to bring in former Division I football player Brendan Jackson, who has been joining us for the entire NFL season. And Brendan, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here for Football Sunday Now.
Thank you again for having me. And this is the rematch, like you said, we all have been anticipating for the last 11 years. We've been waiting to see this game be played again. And what better stage to do it than on Super Bowl Sunday?
Now, it was obviously very heartbreaking for the Seattle Seahawks the last time around. And I'm just going to put this so our viewers can vote as we talk about it. Do you think they are going to have heartbreak once again, or do you think the Seahawks are going to come out on top?
I think I speak for all of the NFL nation when I say the Seahawks owe us a win on this one for what they did to us 11 years ago. And I am very confident in their ability to win this game because Sam Darnold, his team, has shown that they can hang 35 points on any team on any given Sunday. And what better Sunday to do it than Super Bowl Sunday? So I think they'll come out on top today.
Yeah, I want to ask you about, because you brought up Sam Darnold. There are two first-time Super Bowl starters with Seahawks QB Sam Darnold and also Patriots QB Drake May. Nerves, I have to imagine, are going to factor